So Tony, I'm staying at the Host Hotel, and I'm 9th floor, and I'm looking out the window this morning, and I clear down in the parking lot. I see this green machine, and it's, the rear end's pointed toward me, and I'm going, I'm sure it's a Mopar. I can't quite tell what it is, and I don't think there's a hood on it, but boy, that looks interesting. And it turns out it is really interesting.
A face only a mother could love.
Well, it is. These are love it or hate it cars. I mean, they're these things that are like almost so ugly they're cool,
Yeah, 100%. It was the worst selling Plymouth of all time.
Yes, it was. It actually was, because it's a Virgil Exner.
Yep.
So you've got all these weird Virgil Exner touches. At least these aren't completely floating free like they are on some of his.
Right, like the Imperials.
But it's still got a lot of that DNA in it. And some of the stuff he did was weird, but some of the stuff he did was just right on. And I've always dug this car. So this is a 61?
61 Belvedere.
61 Belvedere. Where'd you find it? Because it looks amazingly solid.
We're from Minnesota, and it was in Adams, North Dakota. I bought it in a field. Literally a field for $300.
Was it really like a rust bucket?
Not bad, considering. I mean, they rusted from the factory.
Yeah, sure.
They were known to rust out right away, but it was fairly solid.
Wow. I mean, did you have this vision to begin with? Because this is pretty radical.
The first couple minutes, no. I just got it so we wouldn't have to listen to the tow dolly rattle all the way home. Right? We went for another car. But in any event, once I got home, I started thinking how it would look lowered, and it grew on me.
No kidding. Well, so, I see it now with the hood off, and it's big, looks like a 440. I mean, is it, or?
Yes, well, technically 493.
493, okay. Yep. Well then, not only that, it's got the long ram, which is crazy, that it's twin turbo, dual quad long ram, right?
Correct.
Right. I have never seen that.
Yeah, mission accomplished. I wanted something different.
Well, this really is, and I just think you pulled it off, and everything fits so well. I can't believe that just happened.
Well, a friend of mine was instrumental in creating all of this nonsense with my vision, but it helps that the car is as big as the Titanic.
Really, and that you can remove the fender wells and get away with it, because you need all that space for those turbos.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, that's big. So what does it pump out for horsepower?
Honestly,
I don't even know.
I don't know. We rented the track once, and I know what the car weighs, so it's got to be over 800. And it could make way more, but it's been together for 9 years, and the crankshaft is still in it. So.
Ooh, yeah. Torque plate transmission.
Yep.
So and you drive this thing. You're going to drive this on the Power Tour?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's that reliable?
Yeah. It runs on pump gas. It's got a small camshaft. It doesn't overheat. It's just enough to be fun, but not aggravating.
Right. Right. If you know the show, I like green cars. So. This one's green for sure. What is the color?
The color is it's either a 2008 or 2010 Viper color.
Okay.
Snakeskin green, and the top is a Chrysler PT Cruiser color, that pastel yellow.
Which, by the way, looks awful on a PT Cruiser, but it looks great on this. And that's the thing I think that I dug the most about it, was that yellow goes so good with this green. This thing looks awesome.
Well, I appreciate that.
And so you dropped it, you way down. You obviously tubbed the heck out of it because you have no back seat left.
Correct.
And what are the front seats out of?
They are actually a company in, I believe, Rochester, Minnesota, makes the seats. T's Design. I know they were popular in the 90s, and I've had them since the 90s. So they're his own design.
And that instrument cluster, I've always loved. I mean, that's like, it's like portable. Like you take it off and put it on something else,
Yeah, it's like a George Jetson's pod.
It totally is. It totally is. I just dig everything about this car. How long did it take you to build it?
Well,
or for it to be built?
I've had it for a long time. It was done in one version, kind of a pastel tangerine color with tweed interior. And then I tore it apart. So I always tell somebody 17 years to get it to this version, or on and off for 3 years when we decided to get it to this.
And then this is a car that I always comment that, it's like, finish this car design, went, oh, we forgot tail lights. So they just slapped a couple of flashlights on either side, and if you put red lenses and it's a tail light.
It looks like an afterthought, but
it does.
I had a little boy come up one time he ran up to the car and he said, Daddy, this car has rocket boosters on it.
Well, that's, and that's what it's, I think, supposed to look like, probably.
Sure.
But they do look really just stuck on there, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And you've got probably the trunk's just as nice. You got a fuel cell and all that going on in there.
Not a lot of trunk room because the tubs take up a lot of room. But yeah.
So how wide are your tires?
Their tires are 33, 22 and a half, 15s.
So you're from Duluth, Minnesota.
Yes.
And you came all the way down here for this show?
Yes, I did.
Which is how far?
10 hours.
Wow, that's dedication. And you came because?
Well, I have friends here, and I've never been here. It's a great town.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And there's so many great cars.
There really are. Architecturally, I love Springfield. And you're right, I was actually here last year. And that's what blew me away, was like, man, there's some great, really interesting cars here.
For sure.
And this, I would say, is one of the more interesting ones. 1961 Plymouth Belvedere with a 493 dual quad long ram twin turbo.
Correct.
Wow. You're my hero. Tony, thanks,
Thank
man.
you.